It seems that the HTS offensive on Syria has finally been stopped. As I predicted, it was stopped in a week, but unfortunately Aleppo was lost. The Citadel too. This is a major loss. Of course, some parts of the city still hold, but not so much of the city should never have been lost. For example, the Citadel, which you can see on the background right there. Citadel, 30 guys would be enough to defend that. That fell without a fight. All that needed to happen would be 30 guys, and they could stay there and they could defend it. But Aleppo was completely abandoned. It's like as quick as World War I fighting, Aleppo. So it should not have fallen so quickly. And what seems to have happened was the so-called rebels, the terrorists, the opposition, Terroristan, call them what you want, but the green guys, they had apparently what seems to have happened was they had guys in jeeps driving around, deep reconnaissance, deep penetration, and what they do is they drive to towns and take selfies apparently, and there was apparently a cyber attack on communications which destroyed communications. So apparently what seemed to have happened was that gave the impression that the rebels were doing better than what they actually would. So if the Syrian military had just held their ground, then they could have formed a line, and probably these penetration groups, deep penetration groups, would eventually be eliminated, destroyed, or retreat. But it gave the impression to the soldiers, because they couldn't communicate with others or something like that, that there had been a total collapse. So then there actually was a total collapse. Whereas I believe if the soldiers had just stood their ground and died defending their positions, then Aleppo would not have fallen. If the soldiers in Aleppo didn't run away and fought to the bitter end until the reinforcements came, then Aleppo wouldn't have fallen. If a platoon of people decided, let's defend the Citadel, then the Citadel would still stand. But instead, Aleppo was lost. It's just shocking. And of course, eventually, apparently there was an ultimatum given by Syria's allies / backers, saying if Hama, I think it is Hama, I don't know, the city north of Homs, if that falls, they're telling them that they must make a stand there. So Syria took a stand, and the city did not fall. So I believe that if instead of running away, Syrian soldiers decided to stand where they were and fight to the bitter end, then there may have not even been a bitter end. Of course, I understand that it's easy for me to sitting in my room comfortably saying how soldiers should have just stayed where they were and just died and stuff. And it's easy for me to say, but I'm not a soldier there. And do you know what? If I was out, probably would have run away. But just doesn't change the fact that if everyone runs from a superior foe, that Aleppo fell. Like, seriously, Aleppo should not have fallen. I don't need to repeat myself, but they had a good defensive line. They had good defensive positions, which they just apparently abandoned without a fight. Like, seriously. I don't have much more to say. Like, it's just ridiculous. And now, because the offensive was so successful initially, the counter-offensive will need to conquer a lot more land than they should have had to conquer. It's honestly ridiculous. So yeah, that is all.